All right. Should be closing in about 5 minutes. So we'll get to see kind of where the Qs and SPY end up closing. But as you know, the last week or so, Qs and SPY have all been very narrow range days. So I don't expect things to change too much as we get into the close here. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. This is Yifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for August 12th, 2021. Qs up 0.4, SPY up 0.3, new all-time highs again on the SPY today, and then IWM down 0.23. This is the one out of the three that we are neutral on, at least until it breaks out. Okay, so coming into today on the Qs and SPY, we were bullish on the Qs and SPY, neutral on the IWM, and that's how we're going to be for tomorrow as well. Okay, you can see we haven't really had big changes in the chart here, so not that surprising that the bias stays the same. Okay. All right, so that is the plan for tomorrow. And then what I wanted to do for today's review is go over a setup that I've been seeing a lot of that I typically pass on. I'll talk about why I typically pass on them, but can't really ignore how well they're working. So the play that I'm talking about is the pullback to major support. Okay. So let's get into, so this is one from yesterday. The MCFE had the gap up and then pulled back into this base. Now, why I typically will pass on these is because a lot of times they're coming from a breakout that didn't follow through. Okay, let me highlight this so it's a little bit easier to see. Okay. So coming from a little bit of a breakout failure, but look at the follow through. This is more my type of pullback, okay, that I'll play, right? Because this pulls back into minor support, which was resistance, now becomes support. Okay, this is a pullback to major support because it's already been tested, right? Retest, right? Coming from breakout failure. So I don't usually play these. These I can play. These I'm noticing, however, are what's really giving some nice opportunities. Here's the array from today. Okay, so again, first we're looking at the daily. If you look at the array today, very bullish, kind of doing a 1, 2, 3 on the daily here. Not great because the inside bar is a little bit big. And then same with the MCFE yesterday, right? Was a bullish gap up, clearing a lot of the red bar from the previous day. So that's pretty bullish. All right. So first, of course, as we always do, top-down approach, the larger time frame has to look bullish and support the play. Now we get the 15-minute pullback here back into the base here. Right? So not quite to the bottom there, but if you go to the 5, you can kind of see where the overlap is. Okay, we should be getting the close here. Yeah, in about 15 seconds. Okay, so back into the consolidation. All right, so, they're a little bit aggressive because, again, the array, you can see here, tried to break out. And the breakout didn't get follow through, so that's not that bullish. But look what it did afterwards. Right, so a lot like the MCFE. Okay, the MCFE tried to break out initially, and then gives the pullback to major support. Okay, what's really nice about these is the really tight stop. Okay, so that helps this play be a lot bigger of a play. Okay, and like I said, the pullbacks, I think most of you already know what the pristine pullback is. The trend is established, right? So something like this GDRX, okay, that's a pretty textbook pullback. Okay, but the pullbacks, some of these that we're seeing are kind of more pullbacks deeper into the base. Okay, another example here was the CANO, which I guess it got a little shakeout here at the end, but was pretty bullish. Again, this right here, we were looking to play this as a breakout. over all of this once it got the red bar there, because you can see how it's multiple bars up into the breakout. We're typically going to pass on these if they're going to go from the bottom of the base to the top, because too much buying energy gets used up and then move up. So we want to see it base at the top. Okay, you got this pullback, and up until I guess something happened here at the end, this little shakeout here, right? This was actually prior to the close there, was actually basing pretty bullishly. Let's see what the smaller time frames look like. Yeah, you can see the run up there before whatever happened there. Okay, so that was making new highs. So yeah, that's one of the tricky things, especially playing stuff at the end here. Like we were just finishing up on the GOCO here, and you see it just got that kind of pop there. But very was a nice kind of bearish play there from Sammy on the GOCO. Okay, so this pullback is one that I'll usually pass on every time. Like I said, the GDRX, that kind of pullback, that's more what we're looking for. We're gonna have to see if this really, amounts to just, that's the opportunity there on the MCFE. Now there's of course other stuff, more standard stuff, but we've been going over base breakouts so much for the last couple weeks. Wanted to go over something a little bit different. And just as far as these pullbacks, it seems like the more aggressive pullbacks are working pretty well. Okay, so that's something I want to keep an eye on going into tomorrow. Okay, there wasn't that much, like I said, to talk about on the Qs and the SPY. The bias remains the same. Been saying it all week until we get something significant here. One thing I do think about this week, though, that I was wrong about, is I thought this week we'd be a little bit busier. What I'm noticing is that the quality of the gaps has not really been as impressive as it was last week. Last week, a lot busier, stuff to do from open to close. This week, I noticed, especially at the open, a lot more sloppiness. A lot of the really good gaps don't follow through at the open. So I was hoping that this week it wouldn't just change, as I did know that last week was probably the peak of earnings season, but I didn't think it was just going to kind of decelerate or drop off as much as it did. So a little bit disappointing, I think, that aspect of it. That could mean next week will be really slow. Hopefully not. If we can stay about where we are now, that's fine. But eventually, as we get to September, we are going to get into those doldrums that we get into in between earnings season. So I know that's coming. I'm just hoping that it's, not as immediate. Okay? All right, guys. Hope you did well today. I don't think it was that easy of a day. Okay? And so, like I said yesterday, today, and yesterday, I was surprised at how kind of little really good setups there were. So I thought it was kind of boring. Okay, but hopefully tomorrow we still got a decent list, and then we can hopefully kind of coast into that those doldrums we're going to run into inevitably in September. Okay? All right, guys. I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good rest of the day.